In this video, I'm going to show you guys how to open up your Perma-sealed Volkswagen headlights because I couldn't find a single video that shows how to do it. So right here, I actually have a spare headlight, and I'm going to use that because my Golf R is currently at a shop getting its clutch rebuilt. So therefore, I don't even have my headlights to work on anyway. This is really my only option. But I bought this spare because it was relatively cheap, and it would let me take my time with my headlight retrofit while I'm still able to drive my car. So while the headlight's apart, I can just take my time doing the build, and just because I know once I have it open, I'm gonna want to do more things to it. So the basic retrofit job I'm gonna be doing is just blacking out all of the chrome up there and down here. And then as I'm putting it back together, I'm going to replace the lens. So I already have replacement lenses. I don't have them in my garage with me because I have them up in my bedroom with a lot of other projects. I have a ton of projects everywhere. I have boxes of taillights taken apart, DRLs taken apart. That's a hint because I have something cool with the DRLs coming up next. So yeah, let's get to this here. So what I have in preparation for this is obviously the spare headlight, a heat gun with a temperature control. You can get away with a cheaper one. What you probably want to stay around is like 250 degrees. If you're putting this in the oven, definitely keep it around like the low 200s, maybe like 230 degrees Fahrenheit. I can't do that method because my oven is really old and the temperature control is really poor on it. So when I've tried to use my oven in the past, I've set it at like 200, for example, and it completely melts the entire housing. So I haven't tried that with headlights. I have tried it with taillights. So it's supposed to work with taillights. So that's how I know. 200 degrees with the taillights isn't supposed to melt the housing, but I pulled mine out of the oven and everything was completely melted. So I know that the oven is just really old and it just can't be trusted. And also, this thing is gigantic. So if you don't have a really big oven, this isn't gonna work either. My oven would not be able to fit this. It just wouldn't. So yeah, that's why I'm gonna use the heat gun. And then I have up here somewhere, I have Morimoto Perma-trader, which will help me eat through the Perma-seal that's holding the lens together. It is a pretty tough thing to get through. And you know, really they say that baking alone won't get through the Perma-seal. So that's why you have that Morimoto Perma-trader. And I'll find it here in a second. I just can't. I don't see it. So I have the headlight, I have the Morimoto Perma-trader, I have the heat gun, and I have new lenses. Then you obviously still need your paint. Yeah, I'll probably break this into 2 videos. First video just showing you how to take everything apart, and then the next video will show you everything else. I'll show you where I got the lenses, what kind of paint I use, all that stuff. So yeah, let's try to find this Perma-trader. Ah, okay, here it is. Behind the brake bleeder bottle thing, which has liquid in it. That's unexpected. I was using this for something. I can't remember what it was. It wasn't my brakes. Okay, so here we go. Comes like this. Comes with this little like syringe piece. That you're supposed to use to like pull it out. You're only supposed to get, I guess, just take a little bit at a time. All right, so let's get started here. Let's get the camera on my trusty 99-cent tripod here. Bam. Got some danger stuff right here. Flammable liquid and vapor, maybe fatal if swallowed. Basically, keep this shit away from your face. Doesn't say anything about how to use it. Cool. You'll need your heat source, either your oven or a heat gun. A hairdryer isn't gonna get hot enough to melt the Perma-seal. Hair dryers can only get up to about 140 degrees Fahrenheit, whereas you're gonna need at least probably like 250 Fahrenheit for this. The Perma-trader is gonna make things easier. You're gonna need pry tools like screwdrivers, any kind of like thin little tool like this. And then you're also gonna need, if you're putting this in the oven, you should take everything off it first. You should take the module at the bottom off. You should take the bulbs out. This doesn't really have much in it. I don't even think, there shouldn't be any kind of bulbs in here. Should be all right. Since I'm just gonna be keeping the heat right around the seals. I'm not gonna be putting it anywhere else. So I can probably get away with setting that higher than the 250. I could probably set it around like 3 or 350 because I'm gonna be kind of like going back and forth with it. I'm not gonna have it just like sit in the same spot for the entire time. And really I'm gonna be concentrating it right on the seal because I have this little attachment that can just keep the air exactly where I want it. So I should be able to get away with going higher without, you know, melting the rest of the housing. The retrofit source recommends first doing like a regular round in your oven of 250 degrees Fahrenheit. They recommend 15 to 30 minutes. And then after that, they recommend starting at one of the corners and trying to pry it apart. And as soon as you can get a small gap between the lens and the housing, they want you to then inject some of the permatrator onto the surface of the glue and let it sit for 1 or 2 minutes before continuing to try to pry. So they say that you may have to keep repeating that process. So I'm gonna see if I can start at the corner. So I think the corner down here is a sharper corner. That's a decent corner right there, but yeah, I think right there is the best corner I'm gonna get. So let's get the headlight spun around. So I'm going to heat up this corner right here and then try to get in there with this thin flat tool that I use. I use this to clean off my 3D printer, clean off glue on my 3D printer. So it's pretty dirty, it has a lot of glue on it. But yeah, I'm gonna use this guy, try to get in there once I create a tiny little bit of a gap, and then get the permatrator and inject some of that in there. So actually, let's try to get the permatrator. There's a needle inside right here. There we go. So I guess you just stick that right on top like that. And I think I'm pretty sure there's only one size for this, and this was $30. So I mean, this stuff isn't like crazy expensive. There we go. Okay, so let's start with that for now. This is flammable, so I'm gonna actually keep this down here on the ground, stick it right there so that I don't spill that on the wood and then have a flammable situation over here. Because let's be honest, your boy's already a flammable situation. So I imagine this is gonna take a little while. Let's actually flip this upside down. Not the most sturdy upside down. The fact that they say 15 to 30 minutes in the oven makes me think that I'm gonna be here for a while. So yeah. Alright, we're only a couple minutes in here, but I'm gonna try, see if I can get this to pry open at all yet. Okay, yeah, actually, I am able to get this in there a little bit. Maybe you guys will be able to see this. These lenses, they have like a lip. There's almost like there's like a channel that goes along the outside of the housing, that there's like a little lip on the lens that then goes into the channel, straight in that way, and that's where all the glue is. So right here you can see that even though I'm prying away and I'm getting this tool in here, the lens isn't completely separated from the housing because the lens is still along that entire channel that runs along the outside of the lens, or like the outside of the housing. Now that I did get a little bit of a separation in here, this is where I'm gonna try to start putting my Morimoto stuff. So it's pretty cool. You can see it running all the way down. It's like, because gravity's carrying it all the way down there, and I think it's just traveling along the channel. So I'm actually gonna try tilting it up, try to get this to go along the other way. Yep, and I can actually see that running down this entire length. So this permatrator stuff is just following that channel that I was talking about. Hopefully right there in the camera you can see it. See that? It's traveling all the way down. Okay, so I'm putting a shit ton in here. Probably more than I should be. So I'm gonna chill. I just put like half of what I had in here. I think it was up to like 20 milliliters, so I probably just used like 10. This is coming apart pretty nicely actually. Oh yeah, shot all the way down, man. Hopefully that came through on camera. Actually, it shot all the way down and then it's coming out. Yeah, like a lot of the permatrator came right out. Gotta get some of that to stay in there a little bit better. You can see it running down. It's coming right out again. Alright, that's been sitting for a couple of minutes, so let's get back at it with the heat gun. So something I do want to add is that I highly recommend getting something that is wide and flat. much wider and flatter than a screwdriver. Well, a screwdriver is gonna be flat. That was a bad way to put it, but you want something that's wider than a screwdriver, because if you use a screwdriver on this, you're probably gonna damage your housing. Once you damage your housing, it's never gonna look the same. I'm actually marring up my housing a little bit in this section because I think I'm relying on the prying a little bit more than I should. I should be relying on the heat. So I'm gonna hit it with more heat and then try to take it a little bit easier on the prying. All right, applied a couple more minutes of heat. So let's see if this comes apart a little bit easier now. All right, so I see some good separation all along this section. So now I'm gonna start from the other side of the corner, start going along here. And once I get down here a little bit, I should be able to start pulling the lens away with my hand, which will like pull the whole lens away from the housing. So then as I'm heating it up and applying Perma-seal, I can just kind of grab the lens, should kind of peel off the whole rest of the way. So now I gotta stick some Perma-seal, sorry, some Permatrator. Definitely don't want more Perma-seal. Let's get some more Permatrator in here going this way now. You can see it running along there. I'm gonna let that sit for a couple minutes there before applying my heat. Looks like it's separating already before I even stick something in there. I don't know if it's the heat that's pulling it apart along with the Permatrator, or if it was already looking like that. I'm not really sure. It's like not really wanting to come open more than just a little bit. It starts to go, but then I don't have any more room to expand this with this tool unless I turn it sideways. But turning it sideways is a little bit sketchy because then you run the risk of cracking the lens. Not that it matters, I'm gonna be replacing the lens anyway, but I don't want to damage the housing. Okay, so I think that's pretty much completely out right there in the corner. Fuck. Yeah, I just chipped away part of that lens right there. See that? Big old chip right there. Alright, it's almost pried away far enough for me to like stick this tool in there. Actually it is. There we go. See that? Now hopefully I can just kind of like start heating it up over here and then just start, you know, pulling on that tool, and the rest of it should start coming apart. The problem with the screwdrivers, like I was saying, is that like since they're really thin, they're not very wide. When you pull away on the housing like that, it starts bending the housing, which is not what I want. This tool I don't seem to be having that problem with. Alright, I'm trying to get a little bit more personal with this now because I'm not making as much progress as I would have liked. I'm gonna try to pry this apart a little bit and really get that Perma-seal all the way deep into the channel, because I think before I was only getting it kind of like halfway, kind of like on one side of the channel, but I want this to be all the way down there to really get underneath. See that? See that went, that clearly went, it wrapped all the way around. That's going all the way in there. I feel like I just got a little wet on my leg. Yes, I did. It's dripping out a little bit. So I'm gonna try to just get that to come out. The Perma-seal didn't break loose right there. And the lens is all cracked right there, but it is separating. Oh, and you know what? I'm an idiot. I didn't remove all these clips. I didn't even realize those clips go through the lens. You can see that right there? See that little clip? Let's see if this screwdriver can get that out. Yeah. Okay, I didn't realize that that goes through the lens. Let me go ahead and just get the rest of these clips out. There we go. Okay, so I got 4 of those out. Let's see if there's any more. Nah, that looks like that's it. So we had 4 of those. Yeah, I should definitely be wearing goggles for this, but I don't have any. Just some like safety glasses in case some of this plastic chips off and goes in my eye. So really what you want to do is face the heat gun this way to get it right into that channel. Because coming from this way is only gonna get part of the channel, like that, like the side of it. But this is really like the head-on angle that you want right here. It's definitely coming up more over there. This side over here is not really having it, not sure why. Problem is I'm eating into my housing. You know what, it is coming loose. It's just slow. And my housing officially just broke apart right there. So that's not good. This is pretty much a disaster so far, guys. Like this really is not going well. I started with this corner because, well, one, you want to start with the corner, but I started with the bottom corner because it's least in view. This is going to be covered up by the bumper, so you won't be able to see any of this, especially not down here. I mean, even with the bumper off, you're not going to see that down there. But still, I mean, I don't want this to be all broken up. I mean, as long as it seals well, I guess it doesn't really matter. And that's not going to affect the seal at all. There we go. See, this is what I was hoping to do. I was hoping to be able to walk this out, since I already loosened it up most of the way earlier. So now over here it starts to look a little bit different. This is on like the outside of the taillight. So the Perma-seal over here wraps around the outside of the lens. So I'm actually running a little bit late to meet up with my buddies to lift. So I'm gonna try to wrap this up here. Okay, down here I didn't get as much heat. It's getting a little bit more difficult. This tool is kind of like cutting through the Perma-seal a little bit. Okay, let's see if we can get that corner out. Yeah, the housings get a little bit torn up. So I gotta be a little bit careful here. I think the Perma-seal was actually on the outside of the housing anyway, so I should be alright, even if I mar this up a little bit. That didn't sound good. Cracked right there, that's what that noise was. Okay, yeah, so I think that's pretty much as far as I'm gonna get coming from this direction. I think the rest of it, I'm gonna have to pull from the other side. The lens is tucked in underneath over here so tight. Like I really don't think I'm gonna be able to get in there. Like the angle just isn't really right. So I don't think I'm gonna be able to do it from this side. I don't wanna be a jerk to my friends and hold them up too much, so I'm gonna resume this when I get back. Alright, well she's off. My headlight's only extremely messed up. It should be alright. I mean, all around the housing got a little jacked up. The bottom really wasn't too bad. Over here, not too bad. Then up here it got really bad. You can kind of like push it back into place though. And then up here it was kind of bad. Then all along here it was not that bad at all. The inner side was by far the worst. Damn, that looks horrible. But you know what? The bumper comes right here, right around the lens. When you have your hood popped, yeah, people are gonna see this, and you know, if you don't clean this up, it's gonna look horrible. You know, if they're really looking at it. I don't know, I mean, I guess it's not that bad. What I might do is just play around with this housing and just kind of like do a practice run with this one, and then actually do the real retrofit on my actual set of headlights. Yeah, but that is how you can remove your lens. But what you really should do is find someone with a big enough oven to stick this in. Well, that would help you out a lot. It would speed up the process a lot. But between that, a little tool like this, and the Perma-trader, you should be able to have a much easier time than I did. This probably took me like 2.5 hours to get this single one off. So yeah, it was a lot of effort and it came out pretty bad. Hopefully this helps some of you guys and it inspires you guys to do your own headlight retrofits. You'll see what I do with these in the next few videos. I'm gonna save that stuff for the actual videos. I will say that this is gonna be blacked out. All the chrome's gonna be blacked out. This whole reflector housing's getting deleted because I'm doing something else over here. But yeah, I won't say any more. Then I do have fresh lenses to put back on there. Yeah, thanks for watching, guys.